It is Friday, the 9th of November, 2018. Today I'm running solo and we have a short but interesting show, so let's get straight into it. Starting with the crypto roundup, top 10. Bitcoin number 1, Ethereum 2, Ripple XRP number 3, Bitcoin Cash 4, EOS 5, Stellar 6, Litecoin 7, Cardano number 8, Monero 10, and Monero 9, Tether rounding up the top 10. Okay, what's biggest mover here in the last week? In the top 10, I guess Bitcoin Cash dropped nearly 5%. Seeing here, at least as the overall. Okay, let's have a look at the weekly chart. We started out the week at around 206 billion. It's like we went all the way up to around, it's like we peaked up here at 220.9 billion, and we've dropped back down to current level of 212 billion. We had a nice up week. We're trending downwards now, but still up week over week. So that's a nice positive move. Blocktivity, we've got EOS at number 1, Wax number 2, BitShares 3, Steam 4, Tron number 5, Bitcoin 6, Ethereum 7, Kin token at 8, Nano at 9, and Komodo at number 10. We've had some shifts here on Blocktivity this week. Wax has mooned quite strongly, has a huge AVI here. The AVI is the Activity Valuation Index, a ratio of blockchain activity to market cap valuation. And as you can see, Wax is at 8,429. This is all relative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as you can see down here, is at 1.0. So yeah, I mean, for the amount of activity on the Wax blockchain, which is a new chain, it's really low valued. So might be something to look at for your investment portfolio. Some other interesting things. Bitcoin is still near capacity. That's been going on for the last several weeks now. It's been running at near 100%. Actually, yesterday it was over 100% for a while, which means you get a backlog of transactions, which means you get higher transaction fees. If that continues, we will definitely see higher transaction fees in the near future on the Bitcoin blockchain, unless, of course, they get Lightning and segregated witness really working at full capacity. Well, if Lightning works at full capacity, there won't be any problem, but that still seems like it's a ways off. Okay, the other interesting thing we've got here is that Ethereum is showing up as being at basically running at half capacity, whereas for months and months now it has been running over capacity. And I've done some looking on the web this week. I can't find anything indicate why this would be. So if any of my viewers have any ideas what's going on with Ethereum, please do chime in the comments. I'd really like to understand why this is happening. I don't remember precisely what the numbers were in previous weeks, but I mean, you can see here, this is the current operations per second. This is the weekly average, and this is the record. So you can see the record is much higher than the current. So are transactions on the Ethereum blockchain just really going, is this half as many now suddenly? Or what's going on? I mean, I really have no idea. Please do comment if you have any clues on that. All right, let's get into the news headlines this week. I've just got 3 headlines I'm going to cover quickly, and then we'll get into some deeper articles. So first, Binance launches research wing to create institutional-grade research reports. The largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, has launched an analysis division to conduct institutional-grade research reports, according to an announcement published November 8th. Binance's new analysis division is set to prepare institutional-grade research reports with the objective of increasing transparency and improving the quality of information within the cryptocurrency space. I think that's really positive. We get more institutional investors are definitely coming on board, so having reports that they can refer to is probably a really good thing. Next headline, Square's Bitcoin revenue increases by 6 million in quarter 3, profits top 500,000. So U.S. financial services company Square revealed it generated 43 million in Bitcoin revenue for quarter 3 2018 in its most recent shareholder letter, November 8th. Presenting a digest of its total earnings and financial activities, Square, which introduced Bitcoin support in its Square Cash payment app earlier this year, saw cryptocurrency revenue grow by a total of 6 million compared to quarter 2. So we've been following this Square's development of their app since really they started this many months ago, early in the year, and so I've just included this story because number one, we can see that payment systems using Bitcoin are are working. More people are using it, and I think that's a positive thing for adoption. Right. Our next one, Consensus. Consensus is Kaleido. I guess their project, or is it maybe it's a sub-company of Consensus? And Amazon Web Services launch a blockchain marketplace for enterprises. A Consensus blockchain startup Kaleido and Amazon Web Services have launched a full-stack platform that helps enterprises implement blockchain solutions, according to a press release published November 8th. The platform, dubbed Kaleido Marketplace, reportedly eliminates 80% of the custom code needed to build a given blockchain project by providing an array of full-stack tools and protocols that are plug-and-play, spanning needs from back-end development to front-end app user interfaces. So this is really interesting. I can see a lot of this sort of thing being developed over the next really 5 to 10 years. I mean, there's so much technology that's been developed in the blockchain space, but making it accessible for businesses and real use cases is really tricky unless you hire your own coding team to basically build all the apps and interfaces and databases that are going to interact between your private company and the blockchain. So having these tools pre-built and being able to just go and plug and play is really awesome. I think it's a really positive thing for adoption again. So good-o. Next, let's get into our news stories. This is, yes, first news story. U.S. SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, charges and fines EtherDelta founder with operating unregistered securities exchange. EtherDelta is a decentralized exchange, and this is the founder who doesn't even own it anymore, and they've charged and fined him. So the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has charged Zachary Coburn, the founder of crypto token trading platform EtherDelta, with operating an unregistered securities exchange. A press release by the SEC reveals Thursday, November 8th. EtherDelta, which served as a secondary marketplace for trading ERC20 tokens, allows its users to buy and sell digital assets by means of an order book and smart contracts based on the Ethereum blockchain. According to the SEC, over an 18-month operating period, EtherDelta's users placed more than 3.6 million orders for tokens, including ones that are considered securities by U.S. federal laws. The regulator notes that most of the orders were executed after the DAO report that SEC had released in June 2017, and under current law, EtherDelta was obliged to register in the U.S. or to apply for an exemption. However, the SEC notes that the platform failed to do so. According to the regulator, EtherDelta founder Coburn neither admitted nor denied the findings, but he consented to cooperate and pay the state $300,000 in unlawful profits. Moreover, he agreed to pay $13,000 in prejudgment interest and a $75,000 penalty. The SEC also states that it would have imposed a greater fine if Coburn had failed to cooperate with the investigators. Okay, first thing right here, folks. This is really Orwellian speak here. He consented to cooperate and pay. Moreover, he agreed to pay. I'm sorry, but this is extortion. And when you are forced with either pay this or go to prison, you're not agreeing, you're not consenting, you're nodding your head and giving the money because you're being extorted. This is not real consent. This is not real agreement. So this is Orwellian newspeak, folks, and I really hate it when I see that sort of nonsense written in articles. But it happens all the time, and it just really makes me angry. This is not consent. This is baloney. There is no contract here. He was like, hey, they were like, pay up or you're going to jail. So yeah, well, obviously you're going to pay up or if you got the money. It's ridiculous. So anyway, EtherDelta is still up and running. It's not under threat anymore, I guess. They probably have their license now from the SEC, I suppose. But this was before I guess he sold it when he founded it and he was operating it for a while before he sold it on. So anyway, crazy things. Obviously, we're going to see probably more of this sort of thing down the track. There's more and more decentralized exchanges coming online, and I can see as more secure networks like Safe Network come about, we're going to see platforms, decentralized trading networks built on that, and there's not going to be a way to know who even owns them, who runs them, or anything, if anybody does, because they might be just completely decentralized with no profit taking at all. That's definitely a possibility. Could be completely open source on there. So it's eventually going to happen where the government's just not even going to be able to touch these sort of things. But that's still a few years down the track, I think, but something to keep in mind. Okay, our next news article. Bancor begins cross-blockchain token trading between Ethereum and EOS. Now this is interesting. It's kind of something in between, like what what's that? There's a couple websites now that where you can just go and you can swap tokens without going on a real exchange and doing a bid and ask sort of thing for your tokens. But and then there's the other end of which would be the ultimate, which is atomic swaps, where it's all kind of happening automatically and directly. I think this is kind of very similar to an atomic swap. I think it's happening on a blockchain. It uses the Bancor token as an intermediate token, but it's all kind of automated. And I'm not sure. They probably have a profit margin that they're making on this, I suppose, or they probably wouldn't be doing it, right? Let's just read the article and see what they have to say. Decentralized liquidity network Bancor announced it had completed its partnership with EOS to provide a cross-blockchain token swaps in a press release shared with Cointelegraph November the 5th. Originally announced in September, Bancor has now expanded to the EOS blockchain using its decentralized application, Bancor X, to allow users to convert between Ethereum and EOS-based tokens without exchanges. The move is the first of its kind, Bancor says in the press release, and paves the way for vastly more blockchains to be included in such cross-blockchain trading. The ability to easily convert assets cross-chain points to a future in which token projects and users are empowered to seamlessly interact with any blockchain which best suits their needs. Bancor co-founder and head of business development at Galia Benartzi commented in the announcement. Bancor X currently supports a raft of Ethereum ERC20 tokens and uses its own BNT token to make the cross-blockchain transfers. The company also reported that their cross-blockchain DApp was built in partnership with Liquid EOS, which is Bancor's EOS block producer, the equivalent of a miner on the Bitcoin network. In the same announcement today, Bancor announced its B Protocol Foundation would transfer 10 million in value to the EOS blockchain using the tool to encourage EOS development and token liquidity, in addition to serving as the symbol of faith in the security and promise of the EOS blockchain. BNT itself had reacted only marginally to the news at press time, having faced a troubled year after Bancor became one of the worst performing initial coin offering projects to launch in 2017. It's kind of too bad because they seem to be a good group and they're working on a lot of interesting things over there. So yeah, it's I think that's something to watch. See, there's a lot of interesting kind of things happening in this kind of space, moving coins directly and indirectly through these little mechanisms. So it has a lot of promise for allowing easier transfers. Although without real markets, how do you determine price? So I guess you still have to have real markets somewhere. I reckon that's what the future decentralized exchanges are going to get. Okay, our next article is going to take us off Cointelegraph. Shock! I know I always use Cointelegraph as my main news source. This article was actually on Cointelegraph, but it was kind of abbreviated, and I wanted to get more into the meat of it, so I followed the link, and here we are. This is on thenextweb.com. Researchers rank cryptocurrency exchanges by how secure they are. Kraken is apparently the safest, and cryptocurrency held there is cheapest to insure. Prominent cybersecurity firm Group 1B, or is that IB? I'm not sure. Maybe it's Group IB, has graded the security of online cryptocurrency exchanges as a means of assessing insurance risk. It found long-standing platform Kraken to be the most secure, with OKX, Huobi Pro, and CoinCheck among the riskiest. Alongside IT platform Cryptoins, Group 1B or IB claims to have developed the world's first assessment system for determining the insurance premiums required to adequately cover cryptocurrency kept on major exchanges. Losses as a result of cyber attacks on exchange software, theft, fraud, and illegal actions of crypto exchange personnel are all apparently covered by the new cryptocurrency insurance policy. Users across more than a dozen exchanges can now request their hodlings be financially protected by cryptoins or cryptones. I don't know how to pronounce that either. The framework weighs criteria like the level of technical security, the reliability of key storage, passwords, and personal data of customers provided by each exchange. It also considers the quality of the individual risk management systems of each and how rigid the Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering procedures are. And, quote, in the first place, we assess how crypto exchanges deal with crypto and fiat assets. What are the exchange's key assets, storage, and management procedures? End quote. Group 1B spokesman told Hartford. In some cases, with founders' consent, the assessment includes penetration testing using social engineering methods aimed at the network compromise through the most vulnerable link at any organization, which is basically humans. Cryptoin's platform was developed by Swiss broker Aspis SA with Selecta Insurance and Reinsurance Company handling all insurance coverage. Cryptocurrency on Kraken is the cheapest to insure. The insurance framework sorts cryptocurrency exchanges into 4 groups: in order of risk. Group IB deemed exchanges in the first group to be the most secure, while considering the fourth group to be completely uninsurable. That becomes a bit of a word jumble because the company is called Group 1B, and we're talking about first and second groups. That's just hard to follow. The base insurance rate is 2.5% per quarter, with a discount applied depending on the group, a maximum of 50% discount. The only cryptocurrency exchange group 1B or IB deemed worthy of the most secure category is the long-serving Kraken. According to our estimates, Kraken is the most secure exchange with a 1.25% insurance rate. That means that for me to insure 1 Bitcoin worth of cryptocurrency stored on Kraken, it would cost me 0.0125 Bitcoin for 90 days worth of coverage. Second group includes Bittrex and Coinbase Pro, with cryptocurrency kept on these exchanges demanding a 1.5% insurance premium for protection. Digital assets on cryptocurrency exchanges Binance, Bitfinex, Bithumb, BitMEX, Local Bitcoins, MyEtherWallet, and Poloniex were all assigned premiums of 1.9%, making this the most commonly assigned risk rating. And MyEtherWallet is not an exchange. I don't know why that's on there, but I guess they wanted insurance too, and somehow they included them in the list of exchanges. The least secure cryptocurrency exchange, Group 1B analyzed, was Yobit, which was removed from the list altogether just before going public with its insurance framework. Other excluded exchanges included Zafe, Bitstamp, Top BTC, and BitZ. Unfortunately, when pressed, neither Group 1B or Cryptoins were prepared to reveal the exact considerations made when labeling exchanges too risky to insure, stating that such information is confidential. The maximum amount of cryptocurrency users are able to be insured is the equivalent of 15 Bitcoins, with premiums payable in up to 100 different coins. Cryptoin says it will issue insurance payouts in Bitcoin. Full year coverage is also available, with the base premium costs increasing proportionally with the period of coverage. The representative also confirmed that those interested in covering their cryptocurrency will need to submit KYC AML procedures. What, of course. Anyway, that's really interesting. And yes, having insurers get involved in the crypto space has been going on for some time now, but I think this is really good. It's a really positive sign of the whole area maturing and will attract institutional investors for sure. Our final news article this week, Ethereum zero-proof prototype models. Has Ernst & Young done what Ethereum could not? Now, last week I mentioned this. There was an article about what Ernst & Young was doing and working on, and this is a more detailed follow-up article. So, multinational auditing and consulting firm Ernst & Young announced on October 30th the launch of their Ernst & Young Ops Chain Public Edition prototype, the world's first implementation of zero-knowledge proof technology on the public Ethereum blockchain. The system aims to overcome three main barriers of current transactions and asset transfers on a public blockchain. First, the ability for companies to conduct secure transactions on a public network. Second, lower some of the barriers to more widespread blockchain adoption. And three, enable a full traceability trail of private transactions. Although still only a prototype version and set for live production offering in 2019, this technology could prove hugely significant. Well, that's what I thought when I read it last week. I think it's pretty major stuff. To consider this in greater detail, it's useful to first look at the difference between public and private blockchains and what zero-knowledge proofs are exactly. Public blockchains versus private. The biggest difference between public and private blockchains lies in who is allowed to join and participates in the network. Public blockchains are open to everyone, and anyone can theoretically join the network, download the protocol, and read and write transactions on its decentralized network. The most well-known public blockchains are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Transactions are verified by thousands upon thousands of independent computers around the world, or nodes, to maintain an ecosystem of trustless consensus. The more decentralized the network is, the more secure and resilient it becomes. However, this security comes at a cost. Each transaction has to be confirmed by every node, and to reach consensus, nodes have to perform resource-intensive calculations to solve complicated cryptographic equations, also known as proof of work. This decreases transaction times and increases transaction costs, significantly reducing reliability during times of high network activity. As a result, scalability has long been recognized as one of the biggest barriers to widespread enterprise adoption of public blockchains. Another problem of public blockchains is privacy. Transactions on a public network can't initially be linked to the person behind them, but transaction information such as amount, date, sender, and receiver address is publicly available for anyone who has access to the network. Pseudonymous addresses can be tracked and followed until the user transacts over a centralized cryptocurrency exchange, at which point their real identity is compromised. Private blockchains, on the other hand, are only open to parties who have been invited to join the closed network. They are also referred to as permissioned blockchains because to become a network participant, the user will have to be granted permission by the network starter through a set of rules or conditions. A fully private blockchain is where write permissions are usually controlled by one organization, while private blockchains can also take the form of a consortium, where consensus is reached through a group of pre-selected nodes. Private and consortium blockchain networks are well suited to enterprise adoption, especially in the finance industry, because transactions are private and only visible to the limited amount of network participants. Examples of private and consortium blockchain networks include Hyperledger, Private Blockchain Infrastructure, and R3, a global banking and financial institution blockchain consortium based on their distributed ledger technology product, Corda. Once again, this privacy of private blockchains comes at a cost. The network is less decentralized and therefore less secure and less resilient to attacks. Zero-knowledge proofs. Zero-knowledge proofs have been defined in a 1988 published paper by researchers from MIT and the University of Toronto as, quote, those proofs that convey no additional knowledge other than the correctness of the proposition in questions. In cryptography and the blockchain world, ZKP is known as a method that allows one party to prove to another party that a statement is true without giving up any additional information. There are three aspects to ZKPs. One, completeness. If the statement is true, an honest verifier will be convinced by an honest prover. Two, soundness. If the statement is false, no dishonest prover can convince an honest verifier. And three, zero knowledge. If the statement is true, no dishonest verifier learns anything other than the fact that the statement is true. Application to blockchain. ZKPs allow for greater privacy on public blockchains by enabling nodes or network participants to verify the existence and validity of transactions and therefore maintain distributed consensus without actually being able to see or make public any of the transaction details, guaranteeing privacy. This is why the Ernst & Young OpsChain PE prototype is so significant. Public blockchains typically offer better security and liquidity through greater decentralization, while private blockchains offer complete protection of customer information. Ernst & Young's solution to the usage of ZKPs allows the company to harness the security and resilience of a public blockchain such as Ethereum, keeping the consensus algorithm intact, maintaining complete privacy over transaction information, and therefore leveraging the benefits of both worlds. Moreover, it could fuel growth in enterprise blockchain adoption by greatly reducing the expensive and time-consuming process of setting up private networks and onboarding business partners one at a time. James Wester, Research Director of Worldwide Blockchain Strategies and International Data Corporation, a global provider of market intelligence and advisory services, agrees that the application of ZKPs to public blockchains will encourage growth and enterprise adoption. Ethereum's efforts as zero-knowledge proof prototypes. Ethereum has long been looking at using a version of the ZKP protocol called Zero-Knowledge Succinct Non-Interactive Argument of Knowledge, ZK-SNARK, pioneered by Zcash as part of the Byzantium upgrade, which in turn is part of the Metropolis hard fork. They've been doing various tests on ZK-SNARKs for a while, and they haven't been successful with it yet. So, Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum, has also more recently stated in the Ethereum research post that the network could potentially scale to 500 transactions per second by using ZK-SNARK to mass validate transactions. However, he admitted that ZK-SNARK transactions on the Ethereum blockchain would be very expensive and computationally intensive, perhaps insinuating that it's not quite ready yet for mainstream enterprise adoption. Another issue of ZK-SNARK transactions on the Ethereum blockchain, according to a white paper released by members of the blockchain team from multinational Dutch bank ING, who also launched a zero-knowledge tool, is that it is notably less efficient. Detailed technical information is still not available on Ernst & Young's OpsChain PE system, but the press release specifically stated that the technology will allow companies to privately and securely create and sell product and service tokens on a public blockchain with private access to their transaction records without breaking the consensus algorithm, i.e. Ethereum's proof-of-work consensus algorithm remains intact. Were Ernst & Young able to do what Ethereum could not, that is, to come up with a scalable, cost-effective solution to private transactions and assess transfers on a secure and resilient public blockchain? Ernst & Young's positive comments in their press release about enabling growth in enterprise public blockchain adoption would suggest that they did. I'm a bit skeptical here. I mean, scalable is relative, right? I mean, if Ethereum were to put in place a fork that were to put the ZK snarks into place and were to be used kind of universally, that's one thing. But Ernst & Young, I think they've probably got some kind of add-on, was what it feels like to me, which would only be, it wouldn't be the whole blockchain using it. But so maybe their method might be somewhat scalable, but I'm not, I'm not clear that it is a fully scalable system like what Ethereum's actually aiming at. But we'll see. So a number of questions still remain open. Whether Ernst & Young's ZKP solution is more specific to overcome the barriers of Ethereum's more generic problem of using ZK snarks for private transactions, and if so, how would it be different to the ZK snark protocol? So yes, very interesting stuff. We will be following this closely as developments come about. Okay, well, that's it for our news today. Lastly, we have this week's MaidSafe update. Here are some of the main things they highlight this week. They concluded their version 2 of the crust test yesterday. So that's good news. I participated in that test. I'm looking forward. They're going to have results out soon. Number 2, as of today, we've launched an email subscriber list. Sign up using the form on the footer of the safenetwork.tech website to receive the latest news on all Safe Network developments, updates, and releases. I think that's awesome. I'm obviously a promoter of MaidSafe Safe Network, and I want to see every avenue available being used to help market and get the information out there. So this is another way. If you're interested in the Safe Network, please go to the safenetwork.tech, go to the footer, and sign up your email address there to get the latest updates. And you won't have to be so reliant on me if you're watching my show all the time. Of course, then I'll have less viewers. No! Oh, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, number 3, we published a new post on Medium titled, Why the Internet Needs Evolution Again. And have a look. That's a really nice article. I think give it lots of claps, help move it up. People need to see that. It's a very general article. Obviously, it does promote the Safe Network because it's kind of the ultimate evolution. And what I've seen so far, and I've looked at a lot of different projects. So I really think have a look at that article, give it lots of claps, help promote it, let more, because the more claps you give it, the higher it up it goes on Medium, the more people will see it, the more people will read it. I think that's really important. People need to read this. It's really good. Next, we have an executive assistant joining the team on Monday to take over Nadia's old role. We have a software test engineer joining Stefan's team on December 6th, and we have a marketing strategist joining the marketing team on December the 10th. So lots of new hires coming on board very soon. Congratulations, new hires. Next, the RFC for the public name system has been proposed. We've set up a discussion topic on the dev forum for those interested in digging into proposed RDF examples and the meat of content resolution on the network and using RDF data to provide clarity, structure, and flexibility. Now, this is about, like how you have on the regular internet, you go and you type in like google.com or you type in facebook.com or whatever. That's what they're talking about here, how the name system is going to work on the Safe Network for finding resources. So if you're interested in how they're going to develop that, please do have a look, follow the link, and check it out. Okay. Next, we have the next Safe Client Library release, 0.9.0, is on a good track and is scheduled to be released next week. Congratulations, Client Libs team. And finally, the routing team has been working on preparing Parsec for a clean routing integration while also progressing on malice detection tasks. So, congratulations, routing team. Keep at it. We'll have that Parsec in there very soon. Yay! All right. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. Please, if you're really interested in what's going on at MaidSafe, please have a look at the MaidSafe development update. They've got a lot of other information in here. I just went over the highlights. Got the more details on the crust test. They've got a marketing section. We got a recruitment section, a Q&A section, Safe API and app section, a Safe Client Lib section, routing section, and the crust section. So yeah, have a look and see what's going on there if you're interested. And that's all I have for this week, folks. So I'd like to thank all our viewers for joining the show today. We hope you found the episode informative and helpful. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share our video with others. And tune in next week for another interesting episode. Bye-bye.